Resistance isn't futile, it's inevitable. Welcome to American Heathen.
From the authoritarian, theocratic shithole country of Americanistan to the gangly of egregious, felonious fuckwads at the state and local governmental levels, flagrantly fanatical, fascist, fantastic fuckery abounds. Welcome to American Heathen. I'm R.J. Evans. Peace in our time. Those were the words of British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain in his September 30th, 1938 remarks concerning the Munich Agreement. Less than a year later, Hitler would invade Poland. Winston Churchill called the agreement an unmitigated disaster in its appeasement of Hitler. And as we all know, peace came only after a bloody war that engulfed Europe and the Far East. Approximately 70 to 85 million people died during World War II, 50 to 56 million from direct causes of the war, an additional 19 to 28 million from war-related diseases and famine. In the fold of the dead, 6 million Jews at the hands of Hitler's final solution. The conflict remains the deadliest military conflict in history. The Nuremberg trials of 1945 and 1946 were military tribunals held after the war. Certain key leaders of Nazi Germany stood trial for war crimes and crimes against humanity. The trials were thought to have marked a significant moment in international law, establishing that individuals could be held accountable for such crimes. But time and politics, not to mention waning memories, diminished the horrors of these war crimes and atrocities, and the lessons humanity should have learned from them faded into the fog of time. Flirting with fascism, it seems, is not simply an anomalous feature in an historical sense, but a character flaw in humanity. The voices of the dead have been overruled by the unaccountability of accountability. What rule of law? You know, here in Americanistan, the art of appeasement is a tradition. Take Reconstruction after the Civil War, and I quote, "Reconciliation became more important than clarity about why the Southern states seceded. When historians of the defeated Confederacy reframed the rebellion as a principled assertion of states' rights, their arguments were treated respectfully." Generations of textbook-reliant history teachers followed suit. That quote comes to us from The Failure of Reconstruction and Its Consequences, teachingamericanhistory.org. Now Americanistan is under fascist rule. Law firms, corporations, universities, mainstream media outlets, small business, the military, all kneeling before Zod. All kissing the ring of Primetime Crime Incorporated and bestowing the gift of total subordination to fascism. Now all of this foreshadows an inevitable question. Will anyone hold the openly criminal junta to account and the rule of law should the Democrats actually take control of the House and the Senate in 2026? Well, I can tell you that if history is any guide, what rule of law? You see, appeasement is the status quo for Democrats. Can't we all just move along and get along? Can't we? Can't we please? No! Look, winning the House and the Senate seems to be the only discussion in play while Primetime Crime Incorporated junta commits crimes against humanity on a daily basis. Not an utterance of anything regarding their need to charge, prosecute, and convict the criminals who currently hold sway over almost every aspect of life in this shithole of a country they destroyed. Do I see a gentle slap on the hands a la Ford Nixon? Another generation of textbook-reliant future historical arguments that the criminals were treated respectfully, gently, lovingly?
Oh, the poor fascists. Can't we all just get along?
The voices of the dead haven't taught you motherfuckers a goddamn thing, have they? No. Fascism is voted in. It has never been voted out. And I'm more than happy to remind the Democrats that when I say hypocrisy always reveals the lies, that applies not only to the fascists, but also to them. That's right, Dems. Heed my warning. Stand for the rule of law or die with it. Now, over to Father Seamus O'Randall and his Am I Right?
Thank you, Brother RJ. I always love it when your hair is on fire. I must explain why you have no hair. But as usual, I agree with you. I've been thinking about how you Americans end up taking the status quo for granted and having to learn hard lessons over and over again. Take tariffs, for instance. They've been tried before and always ended badly. Your tariff of 1828, also rightly known as the Tariff of Abominations, anticipated Mr. Trump by raising import duties to as high as 50%. The aim was to protect northern industries, but the tariffs caused significant economic damage in the southern states. They led to South Carolina declaring the tariffs unconstitutional, a kind of pre-Civil War showdown with the federal government. It got so bad that nobody dared try tariffs again. For 100 years, until the Tariff Act of 1930, also known as the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, under President Herbert Hoover. The effect was so bad that the Great Depression deepened, and in honor of the poverty, some shanty towns of the poor and displaced were called Hoovervilles. It got so bad that nobody dared try tariffs again. For another 100 years, then Donald Trump promised his tariffs would make us all rich, forget the past. And many of us did. It seems we learn lessons from the past, but we forget the lessons over time. Take vaccines. Who remembers polio and kids in iron lungs, or diphtheria, or chickenpox, or tetanus, or whooping cough, or smallpox, or measles, or mumps, or rubella? Has anybody died of the flu these days? Just give it time. Our anti-vaxxer-in-chief, the secretary of the HHS, and his anti-science disciples at the state level are doing their level best to bring these blasts from the past blasting back. Or take voting rights. I see your Supreme Court is aiming to do just that, take voting rights. They're slowly chipping away at the Voting Rights Act of 1965. After several key sections have been struck down by right-wing appointees, the right to vote has every appearance of hanging by the proverbial thread. Eliminating the laws protecting the right to vote reminds me of eliminating a traffic light at a dangerous intersection. The traffic light's done its job, so no need to keep it in place to slow the flow of traffic, am I right? We've lived long enough to experience a world without polio or smallpox or measles, so there's no need to vaccinate anymore. We're safe now, am I right? And sure, tariffs didn't work 100 years ago, or 100 years before that, but they're sure to work this time, am I right? Wrong, in every instance. So let me ask you, do we really need to forget another lesson, this time about fascism? Or can we learn at last from the mistakes of our forebears? I have my doubts, but I also have my hopes. I am Father Seamus O'Randall, and I will confess again.
Thanks, brother. Comments or questions? Email me at godlessbastard@americanheathen.com or Father Seamus at americanheathen.com. Remember, hypocrisy always reveals the lies. No kings, no fascism. Resist.